Thanks, Moani. Well, with less than a week to go until the Fiscal Cliff's daunting deadline, President Obama is cutting his vacation short to return to the nation's capital.
He leaves Honolulu tonight and will arrive in D.C. tomorrow. KITV4's Hallie Jackson joins us live in our Washington bureau with a look at what's ahead and what we can expect this week. Good morning, Hallie.
Good morning, Jill and Mahaya. It's not just the president getting back to work tomorrow. Members of the Senate will be back on Capitol Hill, too. But with just a few days until that Fiscal Cliff deadline, any compromise, if it comes at all, could come down to the wire. President Obama spent part of his Christmas greeting troops in Hawaii.
Not only do we have the finest military in the world,
but tonight he'll leave the Aloha State for Washington and a state of gridlock as lawmakers struggle to come to a compromise with the White House to avoid tax hikes and spending cuts. Members of both the House and Senate are also heading back to Capitol Hill tomorrow after a holiday break the president hoped would provide some perspective.
Everybody can cool off. Everybody can drink some eggnog. Have some Christmas cookies.
And return to Washington after Speaker John Boehner failed to get enough support from his own party for a Plan B backup bill last week that would have raised taxes on those making more than $1 million a year.
What the president has offered so far simply won't do anything to solve our spending problem and begin to address our nation's crippling debt.
So far, still a stalemate over the fiscal cliff, and with the January 1st deadline quickly approaching, some worry we might fall off.
If we allow that to happen, it will be the most colossal, consequential act of congressional irresponsibility in a long time.
Some strong words from Connecticut Senator Joe Lieberman there. As for President Obama, guys, he is expected to leave the mainland there at 10 o'clock your time and be in D.C. here early tomorrow morning.
Thanks, Hallie. Well, so we know the president is returning to Washington, but what about the rest of the First family?
Well, given, Mahaya, that it is, or Jill, rather, that it's 34 degrees here, the First family is sticking around Hawaii just a little longer. Michelle, Sasha, and Malia will stay in Kailua for now. The president, again, cutting his trip short. He will return. This is different than what we saw last year when the whole First family waited until after the new year to come back to D.C. But obviously, the situation congressionally is a little bit different.
Yeah, Hallie, it was really cold in D.C. I can attest to that. But, you know, we're learning that some of the members of the national media are actually staying in Hawaii just in case the president comes back to the islands. Are you hearing anything from your end about that?
You know, I wish I had that option, Mahaya, and I could be hanging out with you guys there a little bit longer. No, you know, I haven't heard much about that. I know that with the First family sticking around after the new year, you may see some media presence because of that. Who knows how likely it is that the president would return if there is some kind of a fiscal cliff deal. At this point, it's not looking supremely likely, according to analysts. You did hear both Speaker Boehner and President Obama say they consider themselves optimists when it comes to a deal, but it remains to be seen whether that's lip service or whether that will actually translate into some kind of a compromise with really just 5 days to go.
All right, we'll have to see. All right, thanks, Hallie.